5 rounds at 145 pounds. Oh, immediately Rousey takes Carano down, but Carano looking for the guillotine. And Rousey pops her head out in full mount, ground and pound. Rousey looking for the arm, and already the arm, it's over. Mamma mia, it is just incredible. The most devastating.
Ronda Rousey just submitted Gina Carano in under a minute. And somehow the internet still turned the entire thing into a roast session.
Faster than that, man. Ronda Rousey's a fraud.
Why do you say that?
Because she was winning when there was no talent in there. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you start a new sport, you know, there's no one to rate her. Who was she fighting? The number one in a new division where nobody knew. Anybody could do that.
The second that you're not on top, you're not shit and you never were shit.
Why are you so mad? That's what I would love to know. I would love to ask Ronda, why are you so mad? Why are you so mad at the world?
Why anymore if I'm not this? And I was literally sitting there and I'm like, I'm nothing. I'm like, what do I do anymore? No one gives a shit about me anymore. What the?
Seriously. The second the fight ended, MMA Twitter exploded like somebody leaked classified documents. Half the fans were screaming, "The GOAT is back." The other half immediately started posting clips of Ronda shadowboxing like it was evidence in a criminal investigation. And honestly, nothing explains Ronda Rousey's career better than that. Because even after all these years, people still cannot talk about her normally.
Ronda had a very limited approach. She didn't kick, and she wasn't necessarily the most skillful boxer. She didn't really have a tremendous amount of experience.
Every conversation instantly turns into chaos. One side says she changed women's MMA forever. The other side says she was the most protected superstar the UFC ever created. And after the Gina Carano fight, all those old arguments came crashing back again. The memes were ruthless. 17-second armbar against somebody who retired before Instagram Reels existed. Ronda saw one punch and immediately activated survival mode. Most dangerous woman alive, as long as nobody jabs her. And underneath all the jokes, sarcasm, and comment wars, the same question kept showing up over and over again. Was Ronda Rousey actually an all-time great? Or was she simply dominating an era before women's MMA fully evolved?
Well, what makes me so confident that I can win is I'm the greatest fighter in the world. I'm better than every other girl in every area of MMA. MMA striking is different, and I think I'm the best.
Holly Holm is the new UFC bantamweight champion of the world! Oh my God, unbelievable!
Because once you really go back and watch her career, the answer gets a lot messier than people want to admit. Back during her rise, Ronda didn't feel like a normal fighter. She felt inevitable. Every fight had the same energy. Walkout, intense stare, violent start, armbar, done. Fans literally knew what she was going to do, and opponents still couldn't stop it. That's what made her early run so crazy to watch in real time. It wasn't just winning, it was how quickly she erased people. For a while, it honestly looked unfair, and to Ronda's credit, that dominance was real. People joke about her now because of the losses later in her career, but prime Ronda genuinely terrified opponents. Some fighters looked mentally defeated before the fight even started. The aura around her became massive. Then the UFC machine took that aura and turned it into a global phenomenon. Every promo treated her like an unstoppable force. Every interview sounded bigger than the last. Joe Rogan talked about her like she was created in a laboratory underneath the UFC apex. Celebrities wanted pictures with her. Talk shows booked her constantly. ESPN couldn't stop covering her. At one point, people were seriously debating hypothetical fights against male fighters. Yes, that actually happened. That's how insane the Ronda hype became. But while casual fans were fully buying into the superhero image, hardcore MMA fans kept noticing the same thing. Her striking looked awkward. Not unorthodox, not deceptive. Awkward. The blitzes straightforward, the chin high in the air, the looping punches that looked like she was trying to swat mosquitoes mid-fight. Even during her winning streak, people kept saying, if she fights a real striker, this could get ugly fast. The problem was, saying that back then almost felt illegal, because Ronda wasn't just winning fights anymore. She had become bigger than the sport itself. And to be fair, she absolutely helped change women's MMA forever. That part isn't debatable. Before Ronda, women's MMA was still fighting for mainstream respect. Then suddenly there were sold-out arenas, massive pay-per-views, magazine covers, movie appearances. all built around one fighter. She became the face of an entire movement, but the higher the UFC pushed her, the harder the eventual fall was going to be. And then Holly Holm happened. One head kick completely changed Ronda's career forever. The craziest part wasn't even the knockout itself, it was how fast public opinion flipped afterward. The same fans calling her unbeatable suddenly acted like she had always been overrated. Overnight, every old striking flaw people ignored became impossible to ignore anymore. The clips went viral instantly. People slowed down her striking exchanges, made meme compilations, edited dramatic music over her charging forward with her chin completely exposed. And honestly, some of the criticism was fair, because once the pressure hit her striking defense, everything started falling apart fast. Then Amanda Nunes made things even worse. That wasn't just a defeat. That felt like the complete destruction of Ronda's aura. Nunes landed clean almost immediately, and Ronda looked completely overwhelmed. Wild punches, panic reactions, no composure, no adjustments. It looked less like a championship fight and more like somebody trying to survive a tornado. And MMA fans never forgot it. That's the danger of becoming too hyped in combat sports. When you dominate quietly, people respect you. When you dominate loudly and then collapse publicly, the internet turns it into permanent comedy material. Now fast forward to the Gina Carano fight. The matchup itself already felt surreal because it was basically two different eras of women's MMA colliding together. Gina Carano was one of the original mainstream female stars before women even existed in the UFC. Meanwhile, Ronda became the face of women's MMA years later and took the sport to another level commercially. So from the beginning, the fight had massive nostalgia energy around it. Some fans were genuinely excited. Others immediately called it a legacy paycheck fight. Then the cage door closed. And boom. Classic Ronda armbar. Fast, violent, immediate. And somehow that quick finish restarted the exact same Ronda debate people have been having for nearly a decade. Supporters said, "See? Her grappling is still elite." Critics responded, "Brother, Gina hadn't fought in forever." Then the striking jokes started again almost immediately. Fans joked that Ronda rushed into the submission because she still doesn't trust her striking for longer exchanges. Others posted side-by-side clips comparing her entries from 2014 to now, saying, "Some things never change." And honestly, that's why Ronda's career still creates so many arguments online, because both sides have valid points. Yes, the sport evolved massively after her prime years. Modern women's MMA is far more technical now. Better footwork, better striking defense, more complete fighters overall. A lot of current contenders would probably create serious problems for prime Ronda stylistically. At the same time, you can't punish someone for dominating the era they fought in. Ronda didn't choose weak competition. She just destroyed whoever got put in front of her. And people forget how terrifying that dominance actually looked at the time. Those fast finishes changed women's MMA forever, whether people like her or not. The problem is that her weaknesses got exposed in the most brutal way possible, publicly, violently, and during the peak of her fame. That kind of collapse sticks with fans forever, especially online. The internet loves watching invincible athletes suddenly look human, and once Ronda lost that aura, the memes became permanent. Even now, years later, one quick armbar win against Gina Carano somehow reopened every old argument all over again. That alone says everything about her legacy. Most fighters eventually become easy to describe. Ronda Rousey never did. To some fans, she's a pioneer who changed women's MMA forever and helped take the sport into the mainstream. To others, she was a massively hyped specialist whose flaws finally got exposed once the competition evolved. And honestly, that's probably why people still argue about her more than almost anybody else, because depending on who's watching, Ronda's career looks completely different. Some people see greatness, some people see hype, some people see both at the exact same time. And after the Gina Carano fight, none of those debates disappeared. If anything, they just started all over again.